Is Delegate Parrott here?
Mr. Chair, DFH
Yeah.
is trying to get on, just to let you know. He had the old link, so he'll be right in.
Okay. Okay. Oh, we're live. Okay. Welcome back to the Environment and Transportation Committee. I'm the chair, Kumar Barve. I'm joined by the vice chair, Delegate. I am joined by the vice chair, aren't I? Yep, there he is. Delegate Dana Stein. It's voting list number 16. Two members have excused absences. Delegate Holmes and Delegate Ciliberti are both excused. So we're going to begin with House Bill 1147. Is Delegate Parrott here? Apparently not. Well, I was gonna, so Dave, why don't you just present this quickly? It's a motion's unfavorable, I understand.
It's not, Mr. Chair. If he's not in, then, oh wait, which one is this?
The last
1147, you're right. The motion is unfavorable. My apologies.
Okay, this is a bill.
I
Dave,
just
you
got
there?
on. I'm
Great.
here now.
1147, we're doing that one first.
1147. That bill is supposed to be withdrawn from Delegate Parrott. Delegate Parrott, if he is on, here's his opportunity to withdraw it. Otherwise,
I don't see him.
all right. Well, we gave him the opportunity on Saturday. I think the entire subcommittee strongly encouraged him to withdraw the bill.
Yeah,
Wait,
that's a good idea.
he's here. Hold on.
Okay. Neil?
He's on.
Delegate Parrott?
You're muted.
You're muted.
Good morning. I had the wrong link.
Oh, yeah. Little miscue. Okay, so we're on your bill. It's the motion's unfavorable. Do you want to withdraw it? I mean, there's some good concepts in here, and you need to work these out in the interim and pre-file a bill. And I think it would look better if you withdrew the bill and continue to work.
Oh, you're talking about the battery backup bill?
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Yes, withdrawing is good. Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay. So you need to send a note or letter to me or to the committee or something per our conversation on Saturday.
Although a verbal is good enough. I mean, I think a verbal is good enough. You don't need to. Yeah.
Okay.
To make
Especially
it-
on a public venue like this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. The motion is unfavorable, withdrawn by sponsor. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, let's do a roll call just so we can get attendance. Roll.
Okay. Vice Chair Stein,
Yes.
Holmes, excused.
Excused.
Delegate Learman,
Yes.
Frazier Hidalgo,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Jacobs,
Yes.
Weibel,
Yes.
Ampray,
Yes.
Ciliberti,
Excused.
Wells,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Trassa,
Yes.
Parrott,
Parrot.
Neil,
He's frozen.
he's a little frozen up. We'll go to the next person.
He'll get over it.
Delegate Boyce,
Yes.
Hey,
Clark,
Neil, how do you vote on the unfavorable motion withdrawn? You need to unmute.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Delegate Clark,
Yes.
Jalisi,
Yes.
Anderton, Gilchrist,
Yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Chairman.
Chairman votes yes. Cornbread, we want to vote yes on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. The motion unfavorable withdrawn by sponsor carries. House Bill 831, Delegate Gilchrist.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 831 is an emergency bill. It establishes the Maryland Food System Resiliency Council. The council meet regularly to address food insecurity in the state for 2 years. The bill establishes provisions governing the membership, procedures, and duties of the council. The commission will be staffed by the Maryland Emergency Management Association and the University of Maryland College of Ag. The subcommittee had one amendment, Mr. Chairman. We received a letter from Department of Health. They're too busy to join the council right now, so we did the amendment takes them off the council. Move the amendment.
Is there a second for the amendment?
Second.
Discussion on the amendment. Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it. Bills before us as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion on the bill? Delegate Otto.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I find this just a duplicative the system that the resources could be put to other things. The food bank has done a successful job during this session and other aspects. And I think we're just passing a bill to pass a bill. And I think it's just poor policy. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the bill? Delegate Frazier Hidalgo. And then
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. To Delegate Otto's point, I think that given the pandemic, we have seen our food systems and our food infrastructure greatly tasked to the point that it's never been tasked before. And the idea of having one organization to help make sure and ensure that moving forward, they act and react in the most efficient manner possible to help farmers in the state of Maryland as well, and to feed people. And to feed people in a better way than we have. And I think we've done a great job, but we could do better. And that's what this bill will do. Thank you.
Delegate Weigel.
So it had like a $90,000 a year fiscal note. Is that fiscal note changed at all with the amendments?
No, the amendment doesn't change the fiscal note.
All right, thanks.
Are we ready to vote? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Who's opposed? Otto, Clark, Jacobs. Let's see.
Mr. Chair? We have
Yeah,
a minute. We have to, did we pass the amendment?
yes,
Yeah,
we did.
Thank you.
Very quickly, but yes, we
I'm
did.
opposed.
Okay, so I've got Weigel, Jacobs, Clark. Anybody else opposed to the bill? Okay, bill passes. House Bill 694, Delegate Frazier Hidalgo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 964 passed the
960.
subcommittee. I'm sorry.
So yeah, you're right. Sorry, go ahead.
Passed the subcommittee favorable with one amendment that the subcommittee didn't have time on Saturday to get in writing. And I know that Patrick has been working on it. So I don't know if we probably want to move the amendment itself. The amendment itself just is language that ensures that nobody's actually going to get pulled over as a primary or a secondary offense. And that this pretty much states this as Maryland state policy. There's no incarceration, no fine, makes it explicitly clear. With that, I'd like to move the amendment, if you will.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, we'll vote on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it. The bill's before us is amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion on the bill? Okay, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The bill carries unanimous among those present. House Bill 1098, Delegate Frazier Hidalgo.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, House Bill 1098 was voted favorably out of subcommittee with several amendments as amended HB 1098 establishes a state employee who uses a state-owned electric vehicle charging station located at an employee's place of employment to charge the personal electric vehicle may not be subject to reimbursement at the state for the electric used. And number 2 requires the member of the General Assembly who uses a state-owned vehicle charging station in the garage or personal electric vehicle to reimburse the state for electricity used. Explicitly prohibiting the requiring of a reimbursement by state employee to limit it to the bill of members of the General Assembly. Move the amendment.
The amendment also has a 9-year sunset on the state employee aspect.
Yep, to 2030 to keep it in the same policy as the Clean Energy Jobs Act from 2019, which is 50% renewal by the year 2030.
Okay, Delegate Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the amendments.
Yeah, on the amendments.
So the section that requires a reimbursement by electeds, how would that reimbursement be calculated?
The way it would be calculated is that the current systems that are being used in the House of Delegates, and I think maybe in the Senate as well, that company keeps very close track of all the electricity used. So everything and anything that's being used, they would normally charge people for, and this would just ensure that that's tracked, and delegates and senators would pay that exact fair market value.
So does someone put a card in to activate the charge?
Let me answer that. It's a charge point app. Okay, so I have this on my phone, and my credit card is linked to it, and really all they need to do is flip a switch to turn it on.
Okay, so what's the average price per charge?
It depends on how many kilowatt hours I consume. So I don't know what the price per kilowatt hour would be. I assume that would be set in regulation.
Well, I assume it would be at market. I guess is the average, do we know what? So what I'm getting at is, what is the fiscal note then on allowing state employees to charge?
Well, we don't have a fiscal note on that because, well, first of all, it wasn't in the original bill, of course, but most state agencies don't really have charging facilities right now.
Yeah, but there's programs in place, I believe, by someone on our committee to do that.
Yeah.
So I guess I just a little uneasy passing a amended bill, not knowing what the revised fiscal note is, which could be substantial.
May I ask a question, Mr. Chair?
Well, actually, Delegate Jalisi is next, and then Delegate Healy.
So we don't have any idea what the fiscal note would be on the allowing employees. All right, thank you.
That's correct, yeah.
Mr. Chair, my question is, does the state employee classification or definition include us, like the delegates and the senators, or is it only for state employees, excluding the members of the assembly?
The latter.
So it excludes us?
So it would, Kumar would have to pay for electricity, Trish would not.
Okay, thank you very much.
The bill applies its original intent to the legislators in the General Assembly and the House and Senate pay for their use.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Delegate Love, Delegate Ruth, in that order.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Going a little bit to Delegate Weigel's questions, how many people in the state have EVs? It's a very small percentage, is that correct?
It is a very small percentage. The last time I checked, it was less than 26,000 vehicles in the entire state.
Right. So I think, we're not talking about a lot of people in the state, and we're not talking about a lot of state employees, and then even fewer state facilities have charging facilities. So we don't have the exact number, but it's not a lot.
Hence the part of this bill that, Mr. Chair, hence the part of the bill that is trying to encourage the adoption on the transition to sustainable transport via electricity.
You good, Sarah? Delegate Ruth. then
Thank you,
Lehman,
Mr.
then Healy, then Wyval, and we're coming upon 10:30 people.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was actually going to ask about this when we got to the bill, but since Delegate Wyval raised the issues, the fiscal note says that it would be $4,000 per, the cost would be $4,000 per charging station to equip them. I'm guessing from what you said that that wouldn't apply to the ones in the General Assembly. If we hadn't, if we, without these amendments, would that cost apply to additional charging stations for state employees, to Delegate Wyval's point about the fiscal note? I'm just asking.
Are you asking?
I didn't understand the question.
I'm sorry. So I guess that if you're using an app for the General Assembly, then there wouldn't be that $4,000 per charging station. Is that correct?
That's correct. They've already been installed.
By the way, just to clarify how to charge your car, you can plug your car into an ordinary wall socket. And if the state had 5 or 6 places where people could charge into a wall socket, it would add 5 miles of range per hour, which if you're working for 8 hours would be, 5 times 8 is 40 miles. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a big, expensive machine. Delegate Lehman, Delegate Healy, Delegate Wyval in that order.
Yeah, just to address Delegate Wyval's question, there was discussion in the subcommittee about this question, and it seemed to us that it still remains in the state's control as to how many and where they will place the new charging stations. And so the growth of this will be controllable by the state because they don't have any requirement to put in stations anywhere. And there's a limited number of them wherever there are certain sections. So that gave the comfort level to the subcommittee, I believe.
Delegate Lehman, Delegate Lehman. I guess I got the order wrong. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So can Delegate Fraser Hidalgo describe sort of briefly for the rest of us, what changed in the subcommittee? Because I recall this hearing probably in greater detail than I do a lot of bills, because it really struck me as one of those solutions in search of a problem. Is that the phrase? It really did. It came off that way, excuse me, in the full committee hearing. And, the focus was kind of the questions to the sponsor, how do you know this is a problem? Is it a problem? What is the extent of it? Well, he didn't know at all. He just thought or suspected it was. And, so what changed exactly? I just looked up the bill, and it's literally one paragraph saying state and local elected officials. And by the way, I assume that literally includes everyone down to dog catcher, since it doesn't define a local elected official, will reimburse the state for only state-owned charging stations. Because I don't know about other counties, but I know Prince George's has a number of charging stations at agency buildings. So this is just state. We don't know how many people it applies to, but what changed, Delegate Fraser Hidalgo?
So it's a very good question. The big piece of the bill, I think, that the delegate was originally going after, and I think it's pretty clear what he was going after, is that to make sure that members of the General Assembly, meaning elected officials, the House of Delegates and the Senate, make sure that they reimburse the state taxpayer for the electricity that they use. And after some discussion, it seems like that's a worthy piece in the bill. I will tell you that where this changed is kind of codifying or making sure that does do what the delegate wanted it to do. It also sets in statute kind of a state policy, helping to transition to sustainable electric clean energy transport via helping with Maryland state employees, so that they can just helping encourage them to move to the electrification of a state of their own personal vehicles. So it's about a threefold piece. One is it solidifies what the original intent is, and secondly, it encourages employees But it defines it very clearly to members of the General Assembly and the House and the Senate.
Right, okay, thank you. That's helpful, but it also says it applies to local elected officials. So that's an enormous number of people.
Not as it's amended. I'm happy to have Patrick, if you want to jump in, but this is.
So it completely
specifically
got
geared
rid of
towards
local electeds?
Yeah, only members of the General Assembly.
Members of the General Assembly.
Specific, okay, thank you for that. And then I guess, you know, in I guess rulemaking or regulatory sense, general services, or somebody would have to figure this all out because there is no system at all right now, correct?
There is a system in place already. And so based on what we know at the moment, there's a system based already, and general services would basically just make a phone call to ensure that those folks that have the cards that are issued, that are using the charging station, end up paying for what they use.
Okay, so there is a system. Is it relatively new, I guess? And
I think it could be, yeah. The chair actually knows more about that particular piece.
Yeah, when you drive into the garage, you'll see 4 electric vehicles plugged into these stations. Mine, Dana's, Luke Clippinger's, and Maggie McIntosh. Just check it out. Just check it out the next time you're driving through.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Wyville, Jacobs, Clark, in that order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I understand the comment that there are only 23,000 electric vehicles on the road today, but I think we all know that that number is going to grow exponentially, especially as the technology lends to longer and longer rides. And I'm still a little concerned about the tracking of this. As Chairman indicated, you can plug into any ordinary wall socket. So I don't know. It's just, to me, it's, I think it'd be nice.
Well, Delegate, let me say this. If you plug into a wall socket, your car is drawing out the same amount of energy as a space heater.
Okay. So are those wall sockets? So if I'm a member of the General Assembly and I plug into a wall socket, am I exempt from reimbursing the state, or because that's not the way it reads? And I'm just curious how that would be tracked.
I don't think Delegate Fisher really thought that through.
Well, this is not his amendment, is it?
Well, the amendments don't really affect the part of the bill that he put in.
That's correct.
To exclude local officials.
Well, his bill, I thought, required any state employee to reimburse the state.
No, I think his bill only applied to elected, you know what, I don't remember.
No, I thought it was any employee. Delegate
Elected officials.
Elected officials and Delegate Wyville, the way he put it in was electric vehicle charging station. And that's the language that we've kept. So those are the standalone stations. And as the chair said, you've got an app, it charges you where you go to other stations. Here it charges, you know,
if you're plugged into the charging station, I get that.
If you're plugged into the charging station. If you're plugged into the wall, this won't apply. This only applies to the charging stations. That's how the sponsor brought it in.
And Delegate Wyville also, to that point, the chair's comment about plugging in an electric space heater, plugging in your phones, plugging in your personal phones, plugging in
yeah, but that
microwave oven, all of those things use electric.
So is the sponsor okay with the amendment?
There's no really way to track specifically if somebody's charging their iPhone or using a space heater. So
yeah, I get that. Is the sponsor okay with the amendment?
I don't know.
I haven't communicated with him.
Nobody asked him. All right.
No, no.
Okay, Delegate, are you done, Will? Can I go to Jay?
Yes, thank you.
Delegate Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Delegate Fraser Hidalgo, I think you mentioned there were 26,000 electric EV cars.
That is a rough number.
Is that state employees or is that statewide?
No, that is statewide registered electric vehicles in the state of Maryland. Is about 26,000.
Okay, well,
that's not an exact number, Jay. That's about a month and a half old, and that's based on
but we don't know exactly how many state employees.
No, it's probably infinitesimal compared to the number of overall vehicles.
Okay, so when we had the hearing on this bill, I was asking you what it, my Eastern Shore Prius costs about $80 to fill up.
Okay, and so Delegate Jacobs, I think to be very, very clear, because you and I had a significant misunderstanding about that joke, it's not a
I know.
Prius. It is an what, 250 pickup truck?
No, it's a 2500 GMC.
Okay, okay. So just so everybody knows.
That's my Eastern Shore Prius, but
okay.
That's the new name of it.
Yeah. So, but in all seriousness, I did ask you what it costs to charge an EV, and you said in a private charger is about $8 for 275 miles, and about $12 in a public.
Can I answer that?
Probably about
Jay,
right.
I can, Jay, let me answer that. I'm looking at my account for February. I drove 1,100 miles. I consumed 282 kilowatt hours. And if you assume like 10 cents per kilowatt hour, that would be $28 to drive 1,100 miles.
Right. So it's pretty close numbers. So, just on 26,000 vehicles roughly at $8, one fill up is $208,000. That's for one fill up for what's in the state right now.
Right, but that's just to be clear, that's not
Just state
vehicles.
That's not just state employees, but we don't know how many it is. But I'm just using facts here to point out that right now, if all the EVs in Maryland filled up one time, 275 miles, it costs $208,000 roughly.
I don't think that's right. But here's the thing, though. This bill doesn't require the state government to build charging stations. If MDOT decides they don't want to do any, then they won't do them. We don't force them. We're just saying that if they do it, state employees have to be free.
Well, you got a bill in now that will enhance the installation of charging stations. So there's no doubt that would happen. And I'm sure a bill would come in next year. And this bill sunsets in 2030. So I just want people to understand, especially taxpayers, hopefully that are watching, what the potential cost is. Thank you.
Delegate Clark.
A very quick question. If you drive a gasoline powered car to and from Annapolis, aren't you eligible for mileage for the gas that you use?
The answer to your question is yes and no. You are eligible for reimbursement for the gas, but it's much more than the gas. It's the gas and the wear and tear on your vehicle.
And yeah, well, yeah, and the wear and tear on your vehicle.
It's
just
not
mileage.
just gasoline.
Yeah, so wouldn't that pertain even to an electric car? Wouldn't they be eligible for some type of reimbursement on the wear and tear on their vehicle and the cost of the electric to recharge their car?
Yes.
So what are we talking about here?
I don't know that I follow your question.
Well, my question is, I mean, if you can be reimbursed for it, it's still it's costing the state the same money.
Jerry, let me explain it this way. Kumar now is going to pay for his electricity the way you pay for your gasoline, and both you and I get a per diem reimbursement.
Right.
I think that Delegate Clark, I think that's what you were kind of going at. I mean, either way, it doesn't matter because you're paying for your gas versus, the chair is paying for the electricity. I don't know if that's what you were getting at. I suspect that's
what I'm getting at. It's a stupid bill.
Okay. Well, then I would suggest you take that up with Delegate Fisher.
Okay. Are we ready to vote? Are we ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. All those in favor of the bill signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Who's opposed?
No.
Okay.
No.
So Clark, Jacobs, Wyville, Lehman, Harrison, who else? Wyval. Who else? Okay,
Did
I
we pass
think
the
the bill-
amendments?
I think we voted on the
Yes.
amendments.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I keep missing that. I'm sorry.
Okay, don't worry.
all
Okay,
good.
Bill, what's the margin, Trish, just so we're sure?
I have voting against it, Jacobs, Weibel, Lane, and Clark.
Harrison.
And
Harrison.
Harrison. And that's it. So it would be 17-5.
Okay, bill passes. All right. See you on the floor.
Right on.
Thank you.